have some inspiration first.
Yeah, that's right. That the fantasy is like
yeah.
And then it's like, okay, that's the hook.
All those superheroes that somehow just got those crazy talents that got into this one place and started fighting like those Marvel movies and whatever. They got those, all those characters from different universes and got together and started battling. I'm like, how? Like, how did they become like so great?
Ready for the scary shit?
Let's go.
The scary shit. You are a product of what came before you. What was Frank like back in the day? And people, so just as much as we go about Ejo and Khalif and all these dudes,
they do the same thing too.
But the older dancers go, Craig. Ejo was dope, but Frank back in the day was all pool of what's left of thousands. Of dancers that were nasty.
And then they probably weren't even like famous or anything. Not a lot of people.
They were famous.
Okay, but just not to us. Like much later generation.
Yeah. I've never heard somebody go, yeah, we was the first dudes. They always go, yo, the dudes before us. There's always the dudes before. I was showing them different footage. I was like, the footage is out there. It's just a lot of the footage lacks context. I'm going as far back as possible visually for them to give them a sense of context before we trace it. So when people start asking me about House, bro, I'll pull up footage from Coney Island and the Fort Greene Park or from the Park Central Park. Look,
skaters and
look at this before we get into these steps, these technical steps, so you can see what's under these technical steps.
Okay.
And that footage is out there. It's free. It's not like it matches the table, matches the wall. Like coordination. You see all this?
So I guess the last question that I wanted to ask you is like okay, everybody understands it's a culture thing. Like, okay, so the club is playing crazy, awesome music here and there. What did you think that these dancers just came out? Like, to me, it seems like they're all those superheroes that somehow just got those crazy talents that got into this one place and started to fight like those Marvel movies and whatever. They got those, all those characters from different universes and got together and started battling. I'm like, how? Like, how did they become like so great? Like, to me, like when I first saw Brian Green, Ejo, like Stretch, all those people, they like got to me. Like, no joke. I'm like, no way a human being can move like that.
Okay, you ready for the scary shit? You ready for the scary shit?
Let's go.
The scary shit. You are a product of what came before you. Ooh. So if you talk to them, I think a lot of dancers talk to them, but they're not. Oh God, there's a word. Hey, college professor. They're not really thinking about what these, like, I can be in a room and Stretchfuls or Khalif or Ejo will say a story. And I think a lot of the dancers get hooked into the fantasy and they don't start critically thinking about what's being said. So they'll go, this dancer taught us, we learned from watching these dudes, blah, 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 blah.
Okay.
Me, because of my notebook and stuff, I would go, that's that Ejo, that's the dude I was talking about. That's Frank, who I was talking about. So I'm not just gonna go, oh, that's Frank. I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna stare at Frank and try to figure out how is Ejo connected to Frank. And I'm gonna stalk this dude on the low. I'm gonna just be there and just go. And then, you know what I mean? And then
to find the connection.
But not only find the connection, then I'm gonna backlog. Then I'm gonna talk to older dancers and go, what was Frank like back in the day? And people, so just as much as we go about Ejo and Khalif and all these dudes,
and they do the same thing to
those
dudes.
Yeah, but the older dancers go, Craig, Ejo was dope, but Frank back in the day was. And then Frank goes, I talked to Frank. Then he starts naming 10 other dancers. And then I meet Sean Welsh, and then he's phenomenal.
It's a big bang, basically.
So so we just see this small pool of what's left behind of thousands. Of dancers that were nasty.
And then they probably weren't even like famous or anything. Not a lot of people.
They were famous.
Okay, but just not to us. Like we're much later generation.
Us, because
but the elderly, they remember those names.
Because when you talk to Khalif and Ejo about them, you can see the passion. They're like, yo, we would.
So it's the same thing.
Yeah.
They feel like they're gods.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Here we go.
So there's a trickle down, but like I tell dancers who are my students all the time, okay, indulge in the fantasy. Snap out of it and get to work.
Yeah.
Do that.
But you gotta have some inspiration first.
Yeah, that's
right.
That the fantasy is
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, because that's the hook.
Right.
That gets you hooked in. Like, I wish I didn't get, like, I really wish that I could have went the animator route and did this out of love and fun.
Yeah.
Because, you know what I mean? Because it's like, the fantasy, I got caught by all.
By the way, we will show you Cricket's artwork for animation work.
Yeah, I got caught in that, and you know, and then when it came to, you know what I mean? But it's so, for me, I try to wake folks up to like, wake up, get to work.
So basically what you're saying is like, it starts from somewhere.
Yeah.
Like all those people, their inspirations from the previous generation, and then those people, okay.
Look at Conrad. Look at Conrad, Bravo, and Archie.
Yeah, for sure.
Look at them at their age. Imagine that 30 years off, 40 years off.
Oof. Bravo's being one of the oldest, I guess? Bravo's in his 60s, I think.
Yeah, but I don't know how old Archie is, and you know.
Okay.
So it's like, and then when you talk to them, you will never hear, I've never heard somebody go, yeah, we was the first dudes. They always go, yo, the dudes before us. There's always the dudes before. Or it's always, they will talk about their peers.
Yeah. And
then they go, the dudes before us that we watch was, in which I love.
But see, okay. But here's the thing, like it become like famous because it was not much like footage. So it's not.
Man, you better start getting on YouTube. I'll be on YouTube.
Really?
Scouring, brother.
Even
I'll be on
really?
YouTube. Like, I'll be on that.
Wait, are you saying like those guys?
Some of that stuff. I mean, like here's the one thing. I talked to Kwame from France, and you know I was showing him different footage. I was like, the footage is out there. It's just a lot. A lot of the footage lacks context. The footage is out there. Bro, there's so many, you know, now that I have a steady job, you know, I can be a little, and not only that, I think because I'm a college professor, I now know the importance of, if somebody comes to me to learn any of the forms, I'm going as far back as possible visually for them to give them a sense of context before we move
trace
on.
It and
so when people start asking me about house, bro, I'll pull up footage from Coney Island and the Fort Greene Park, or from the park, Central Park. Look,
skaters and
look at this before we get into these steps, these technical steps, so you can see what's under these technical steps.
Okay.
And that footage is out there. It's free.
Yeah.
But you know, for me, that's a start for me to give you context, because that's what fills it up. Yeah. That's the color in it.
See, that's okay. Yeah, the reason why I wanted to do a show like this is to keep digging deeper of what had happened before, like what led to where we are now, and then let people see things that happened way before this whole global phenomenon, and to, you know, connect the names with the dance, with the steps and the culture and everything behind it. But obviously we will add more new things into it as well. We can talk about some other stuff later on, you know, things that can be a little bit more than dance. But for today, I think we have a really, you know, condensed information in terms of, you know, the history of a lot of things that happened. Cricket's personal history of how he got into dance, and professor at Caltech, and so that's fun. And thank you so much for being the guest.
Thank you, man.
Today. We would love to have you do this sometime in the future, as I'm pretty sure a lot of the fans of this channel would like to have it too. By the way, people love the way that you interact with, like the all those reaction videos that we did back in the days, years ago.
Bro, I forgot all about that shit.
Yeah, man.
You know,
we did a lot of videos together.
And peep the game. Peep game. We didn't talk to each other before we shot this video. And you see how the color schemes? You see how like it matches the table, matches the wall. You like coordination. You see all this? Grain.
Yes. Yes, sir.
What's going on?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Vibes.
All right, y'all. Peace.